Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to our special edition of The Next Normal in collaboration with America Meditating Radio. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and I want to first thank everyone that's been with us on the journey for a year. The closing of the meditation museums, we had no idea that we would still be closed a year later. I'm still in shock. Well, kind of, but I wasn't expecting that we would have been closed for an entire year. And for all of you, our community and individuals who've been thirsting to come back out there and be at the meditation museums, we're right here with you. You have no idea how much we miss holding you, seeing you, welcoming you at the reception desk and directing you to take off your shoes and go into the quiet room and then enjoy the exhibitions and the installations in the museum. And then the way you would find that perfect seat in the museum, that always tickled me. No matter if there were 20, 30, 40, 80, 100 chairs in, it always amazed me where you would go to find that perfect seat. Anyway, we really miss you a lot, but do know that we want to be able to remain open, that when all of this passes through, that we can still be open for you, the one in Silver Spring and the one in Tysons. So don't forget to submit your reoccurring donations on our PayPal and let us know that you are just sending all this love for the museums to open. So here we are a year later. We have been having the most incredible folks, hasn't it? We had Bershan Shaw recently. She's now on Atlanta, New York Housewives, Real Wives of New York. We had her on and boom, her fortune opened up in a minute. We had on Carolyn Mace, her beautiful book, Intimate Conversations with God. We've had Marianne Williamson, wonderful, our buddy, our heartbeat there. We've had so many folks, and please, if I'm missing you, it's not intentional. From Bishop Carlton Pearson to Eben Alexander to so many of you, Ainsley McLeod, all of you have come on to be a part of our special segment and to share with us your wisdom. And what I love about these segments is that they're just conversations. I am curious to learn about our guests, and I'm curious to share our guests with all of you to learn more about our lives. And that's what the Next Normal is about. We're about coming together, we're about learning, we're about curiosity, we're about bringing the best of ourselves forward, and we're more than anything else about the power of peace and purity in action. I don't know about you, but I'm not one of those sitting down meditators who do her 20 minutes of meditation in the morning and go, I'm spiritual, I got it. As you all know, my biggest contribution in meditation has been keep your eyes open, keep your thoughts and attention of what you're thinking and feeling, and do the work. When you're at the desk, when you're answering the phone, when you're going from one room to another, when you're about to make food, when you're about to offer the food, and definitely when you're about to eat the food, where are your thoughts? Where are your thoughts, my friends? Are they rooted in that which can inspire you and elevate you and bring you to a higher level of consciousness? Or are you letting that past energy keep holding you back? I was looking at Michael Beckwith, who you all know is one of my dearest friends, and he was doing a program with Oprah the other day. I think it was a rerun or he just reposted it, and I just texted him yesterday. And in his post on Instagram, it was like, let go. If you want something to manifest, it's like a coin that you're throwing in a wishing well. Throw it in the wishing well, let it go and move on. As we are navigating these next few months to go into a new little mini retreat center for the metropolitan Washington area, I'm saying let go. Funds, everyone's situation, circumstance, everything will come to make it happen. The power of meditation has everything to do with the power of your intention. If you're well intended, things are just going to work out the way they are supposed to. Maybe you might not have actually thought that that's the way it should be, but then the universe and the destiny is actually conspiring to make things better for you. But are you open to accepting it? Are you open to knowing that the universe and God wants the best for you and you're the only one that's getting in your way? What I love about meditation is my 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock rise. That's the time I get up every single day. I can count on maybe my both hands how often I have missed getting up early in the morning. And when I get up and I check what's my first thought of the day, what's that thought guiding me, and all I'm thinking about lately is mini retreat, right? So I keep thinking about seeing us there, seeing the programs, the activities, and I'm so fired up. I'm so enthusiastic. And for everyone who's been supporting it so far, thank you wholeheartedly. Unlimited blessings your way. For those of you who want to be a part of the story, just go into the Meditation Museum and click on the link. You'll see it. Today, my guest comes to me as a result of seeing a story on Deepak. As you know, Deepak is coming up on a few shows that I'm doing, and I saw Deepak's article in his magazine, and I didn't know there was a meditation magazine out there. So I suggested to Antonia, our incredible powerhouse of our team, to please reach out to the editor, the owner of the magazine, and let's find out what he is up to. And guess who we have today? Kevin Ellerton. Kevin is a meditation teacher, author, activist, entrepreneur, founder of Meditation Magazine, loving husband, and guess what? He's going to be a father. Kevin began meditating in college in 2006 as a way to transcend his anxiety and depression. Meditation changed his life and sent him on a paradoxical lifelong quest to wake up into the present moment more and more over time. Kevin loves to help people realize their true selves and find unshakable joy, bliss, happiness, and equanimity through meditation. Welcome, Kevin, to The Next Normal in collaboration with America Meditating Radio. I'm looking so forward to getting to know you.
Hey, hi, Sister Jenna. Me too. Thank you. Thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. So, Kevin, what inspired you to start the Meditation Magazine?
Wow, that's a long journey. Well, like you mentioned, I had anxiety and depression in college, and to try to boil down a very long journey, I learned meditation, and it really saved my life. It brought me out of my thoughts and into the present moment. And over many years, I sort of deepened this practice and found myself in a monastery in Thailand called Wat Suan Mok, Theravada Buddhist monastery. And while I was there, I was doing a 10-day silent meditation. And on like the seventh or eighth day, about the seventh day, I had this sort of breakthrough from this hell I had been going through for the first 7 days. I had been going through all this anxiety and stress and all this stuff in my mind. And eventually I just kind of let go and accepted, myself as I was. And the rest of the time that I was there, I was just kind of walking around on clouds in this bliss. But what I realized while I was in that bliss, like it sort of hit me that it would be a little bit selfish for me to just kind of keep that in myself, and I would feel sort of sad that it was just in me and not in everyone. And I really wanted to be able to share that bliss with as many people as possible. So it kind of struck me at that monastery that my life mission would be to spread meditation as much as possible. And since I come from, New York, I thought, let me try to spread meditation as much as I can in the Western civilization, which I think really needs it the most. The East has had it for a long time, and the West needs it. So that was kind of what set me on the mission. And I started writing articles about meditation. After that, I created meditationmag.com, which was just sort of a blog site writing articles about meditation and psychology and how it affects your brain and all that kind of stuff. And those articles started catching on. People started sharing them, and the site started growing, and people started submitting articles. And eventually people started requesting a physical magazine. They were like, where can I get the physical magazine? And we were like, why would anybody want a physical magazine? You could get everything you want here on the internet for free. Why would you pay for a physical magazine? I didn't understand it at the time. But after a couple of years of those types of requests, I started asking people, why do you want that? And a lot of people said, I want to get away from my phone and my computer. I don't want to be on them more. I want to be able to, curl up on the couch with a nice magazine and read something that brings me into presence more than like sucks me into a screen. And
That's
that,
beautiful. But you seem to be doing a beautiful work with it. I mean, just the whole layout. But I want to go back to your college days. What were you majoring in at the time?
thank you. That's a great question. I actually majored in anthropology. It was just the first thing that struck me. I had recently come out of this sort of existential crisis where I had been in Jerusalem. I was studying to be a rabbi. I was kind of like brought up as like a very Orthodox Jew. And then I was studying to be a rabbi, and I started questioning the fundamental assumptions about the religion, and like looking into archaeology and whether it matched up with the events in the Bible and things like that. And I started asking too many questions, and they excommunicated me, and it was a whole thing. And I was sort of nihilistic because I had lost all my meaning in life, and I was very depressed and anxious.
So is
And
that when the depression sunk in? Was when you felt like they had turned their backs on you a little bit?
it wasn't even about them turning their backs on me. It was more about in the religion, I felt I had a meaning in life. I had this eternal view where I was going to have this eternal afterlife and heaven and all of that stuff. And then when I stopped believing that because, of this sort of delving into the archaeology and comparing it with the Bible, and then feeling like the entire Bible was a lie, and then getting into all of that, and it sort of led to this Nietzschean nihilism, like where everything is pointless and meaningless and nothing matters and there's no truth and there's no anything. So that led into the depression and the anxiety, but also it led me to anthropology, which, because I had been studying archaeology, I thought anthropology would give me a new worldview that would replace the religion and give me some meaning in life through understanding where we came from and what humans are, and where we're going, and like it kind of did in a certain way. And it also helped me sort of start Meditation Magazine, and it led to sort of the path that I took, because it wasn't just about me exploring meditation inside of myself. I also went on this journey around the world, exploring meditation in different cultures, in the Himalayas, in India, in Thailand, in Bali, in all these different places around the world, like all these different traditions of meditation, and interviewing gurus around the world. And that is really what led into Meditation Magazine.
Well, congratulations on your quest, your search. And May coming up is Mental Awareness Month, and definitely it's something that's very near and dear to me. This whole notion of, the fear, the anxiety, the emotional despair that we're witnessing in so many now as a result of the lockdown just not opening up for good. India now is echoing that they're going to be going through a second lockdown. Europe is planning on doing that. I don't know what's going on with America, but it's really inviting people to become more introspective. And I'm curious to find out, how has it been for you, the COVID pandemic and the lockdown? Have you been changing?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking. Yes, I've had a very ups and downs in this lockdown. At first, I had been at the beginning of the lockdown, I was building Meditation Magazine, and at the same time, I was actually working in another job, living in Greenwich Village in Manhattan. And I loved that little apartment in Greenwich Village. I loved Greenwich Village, but the job was very stressful, and it was making it hard for me to build Meditation Magazine. So when everything went into lockdown, I kind of took it as an opportunity to get out of the city, leave that job, and really focus on building Meditation Magazine. And it has grown because of that, in a way that I did not expect to happen for a long time. We had our first international issue. That was the yoga girl Rachel Brathen issue that was in New York, in the United States and Canada. And then recently, actually, our new issue, which is hitting shelves in a few days on the vernal equinox, is the Guru issue, which is going to be in 20 something countries around the world, on 5 continents. and in thousands of stores. And we had Deepak Chopra and Sadhguru interviews in there, which I think are super cool. And I was really excited to talk to both of them. So that all happened for me during the pandemic. And I think it happened because I had this space away from all the interaction, all of the mania of the city, just being able to be in a quiet place. But at the same time, there's all this craziness going on with the pandemic. My wife and I are expecting our first child, who was conceived during the pandemic, and now she had to go to the hospital when she had the morning sickness. She had it really badly, and we had to take her to the hospital, and I couldn't go into the hospital with her, and that was very difficult. She had to be there alone, and I hate that because we're very, we try to support each other all the time, and it was very hard for me to leave her at the hospital and go home. And then coming up, we're going to be in the hospital for the birth, and thankfully she got vaccinated because she's pregnant, but I haven't gotten vaccinated, so I'm going to be there for a few days in the hospital unvaccinated. I'm a little worried about that. And I've have relatives who have lost parents. That has been a real eye opener about this whole pandemic, and it has really affected me emotionally. And
I was getting a little teary-eyed when you were telling me the story of when you had to leave your wife at the hospital when she was having her morning sickness. It's just it's a big thing now. I mean, I don't care how spiritual you think you are or how spiritual people tell you you are. You can't help but pull that humanity from within you where you can still feel, and empathize with some of the stories or the losses and the disappointments and the pain that so many have been going through as a result of this pandemic. I also know there are a lot of people that are doing really well, and deep down they will always tell me too, but I have to tell you, I feel guilty knowing that everything is okay. So the fact that they can still celebrate that they're okay, but at the same token, have the wherewithal to say, I still care about those that are not having it easy, that they want to find a way in how to help. And I think that's really important. Nowadays, a lot of people are talking about meditation and spirituality and its commercialization of things. Here at the Meditation Museum and America Meditating Radio, everything we offer is for free. It's for no profit, not asking you for, pay for this, pay for that, pay for that. But there are those of us who might not have the structure that we have that functions on just donations, and that's donations from the hearts of people if they've been touched by whatever we're offering, whether it was at the meditation museums or on America Meditating Radio, then they are definitely invited to give a love offering, however small or however large. But let's say now you are going to be a father, you're a husband, you're an entrepreneur, you're searching for yourself, you've gotten your magazine now into hardcover at a time when people are on their phones and iPads more than anything, but yet there's some people who just want to pause and hold paper. So then you kind of have to put money into this. So how do you balance out your spiritual thirst and your spiritual quest and your spiritual work with the balancing act, knowing that money's needed to create the magazine, sustain the magazine, keep the magazine going? I mean, how do you beautifully marry both of them where it still keeps you a whole person?
That's a really beautiful and well asked question. It's something that I've been exploring in myself for a long time, because when I was younger, I sort of thought of money as this necessary evil kind of thing. And I saw marketing as this expression of that necessary evil. So I was just put all that stuff away. All I'm going to do is meditate. I'm going to share my meditations. That's it. And I thought that will be great. But that was a very long and difficult path. And what I realized after a lot of traveling, actually, you know what it was? It was going to Amma's ashram in India. When I first went to Amma's ashram in India, I walked in there and I was just blown away by the energy of the place. And I realized it was just full of love. everyone was full of love, and it was all radiating from Amma. And Amma, she wasn't doing anything to promote herself. She wasn't doing anything to, you know, like marketing or anything like that. She was giving hugs to people. She was meditating. She was singing. Like, that's all she was doing. And that's all she's been doing since she was a kid. And I thought, wow, this is real. This is the expression of, you know, what happens through meditation when you don't try to do any marketing, don't try to promote yourself. But what I started to realize when I was there was that the way that Amma was able to spread so much love and beauty in the world was, yes, through that beautiful love that was coming from her heart, but also from the fact that the society around her was structured to recognize when somebody is like a beautiful saint, a beautiful guru, when the society is structured to recognize that, they come to her. But our society here is not structured that way. Our society here is a capitalist society where people need, if you want to get anybody's attention to be able to help them in any way, you need to do it. You need to actively go and get their attention. There's so many people trying to get their attention already with varying motivations on TV, on the internet. So if you want to be able to get people's attention and help them, you need to actually sort of play into the system in a certain way. You need to actually do it. You need to, and in our system, capitalism, it's all about money, really. It's all about using money to do things. That money is power. Money is energy in this society. So if you want to be able to get in front of people, you need to spend money. That's what I only started learning that when I started using Facebook ads to promote our magazine. And that has been a real game changer for our magazine, because instead of getting a few subscribers every month, now we're getting hundreds. And it's a lot, that capital allows us to grow. That capital allows us to be able to print more magazines next year. So like right now we're printing 2 a year on the equinoxes. Next year will, because of our subscriber growth and the revenue, we'll be able to print 4 a year, and then hopefully even more after that. And that's the only way that we can do it. And I think that when a lot of people start talking about, you know, we've gotten a lot of flack for our Deepak cover. People point out his diamond glasses and say, is that what a guru does? He wears diamond glasses. And you know, to me, I think we need to start a conversation around this. The fact that people are people, humans are humans. We're living in a capitalist society. If we want to spread meditation, money needs to be involved in some way. And that's just it, you know, like we need to recognize that the world is not a perfect place, and we just need to do what we can in this world to do the best that we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in my culture of the Brahma Kumaris, it's our teachings of Raj Yoga. And money is not an evil, but it's the consciousness and how you earn it and spend it that determines if it's a negative or a positive for you. So if you've got like Ken Honda, who is continuously promoting happy money when you spend it, happy money when you make it, will make you a happy millionaire. That's his understanding of things. And I think that's the formula for everything, isn't it, Kevin? Whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your health, you know, the kind of happy energy or the kind of good energy that is needed to bring forth into our lives is the next normal, is the call of our time. Now, one of the things that you have noticed is that you find that, are you quite, you know, experiencing a lot of gratitude at this particular juncture of your life? Because now they say the more grateful you are, the bigger your vibration expands, you know, and things just start to open up for you. I know so many people that have so much, but they complain, criticize, judge, are angry. It's as if nothing that they have is enough. But I've known some people who have very, very little, and they're so grateful for the little that they have. And I can only say karmically, I can see their abundance growing. If not right now, it has to grow in the future. What's your thoughts on your level of gratitude?
Yeah, that's also a beautiful question. I do feel extremely grateful right now for the way that my life is. You know, sometimes I'm tempted to think about the magazine as like the primary source of the gratitude, but it's really not. When I do meditations, and I do a lot of breathwork meditations, like the pranayama style, and it really pumps up your emotions. And one thing I started to notice over the past year or so is that when work things like magazine things, stress from the magazine, or beautiful things from the magazine come in, they don't make me cry. They usually make me laugh at the sort of silliness of the whole game. But when I think about people that are like family, and health and things like that, that I end up bawling. And I think that's very telling for what's really important in life. So when I think about gratitude, the first thing that comes to mind is, hey, my magazine's doing well. Like, we're growing. Like, this is the passion that I've always had. It's my life mission and it's working. It's a beautiful thing and it makes me feel amazing. But the thing that I really deep down am most grateful for is that my family is okay in this pandemic. My sister's whole household got COVID, and my sister ended up in the hospital, but thankfully everybody's okay now. My parents are fully vaccinated at this point, and I've seen so much tragedy and so much sadness around in the world, and to me, to have my family whole that's what really makes me the most grateful.
Wonderful. I'll have to tell you, I'm also noticing in myself a change of my sentiments. I've often been quite tender and caring towards other people's feelings. I've also noticed that it's gotten a little bit more acute since the lockdown, and more of a feeling of a deeper sense of care for the well-being of my humanity. And when I see that we're just in a mess and we're just topsy-turvy and we're just playing out our part, and it doesn't feel sacred, it touches me, and I'm working that through even as we speak. I've never felt like that before, and now I really, really am. Why don't you just do a little meditation first? Could you do something for about 2 minutes for our amazing audience and take us into whether it's a pranayama meditation exercise, which I'm sure everyone would love here, or maybe another kind of meditation that you'd like to do?
Yes, of course. I think that the practice of meditation is more important than all the talk surrounding it. So I'd love to get into that now. Um, there are two meditations that I like to practice. Mainly, one is a mindfulness Buddhist kind of meditation, but I would love to do a pranayama meditation with you right now. It's going to be a lot of intense breathing, so be ready for that. It's going to be very intense, rapid, deep breaths for about 1 minute or something like that, maybe 1.5 minutes. And then we're going to hold the breath out on the last exhale and just leave the body empty of air for 30 seconds or a minute or so. And then we're going to take a deep breath and hold that deep breath for about 30 seconds or so. Are you ready? All right, let's go. So we're going to go into the rapid breathing right now as deeply as you can. Now exhale all the air. Feel the body empty of air. You may feel the body tingling or dizzy. Just leave the body empty of air. Feel your body in this state. Hold that breath out as long as you can. When you can't hold it any longer, take a huge deep inhale filling the entire body with air, pumping air into the bloodstream, oxygen into the bloodstream, holding the body full of air like a balloon. And just feel your entire body in this state, full of air. You may feel some tingling in your body. And when you can't hold this inhale any longer, just come back into normal breathing at your own pace. Just feeling your entire body as it is here in this moment. Thank you for joining me in this quick pranayama, this quick breath work to play with the energy in our bodies, the oxygen levels in our bodies. How did that feel for you?
It's so needed nowadays. I think that one of the things that we don't know how to do is to breathe properly. And if we were to learn to breathe properly and to connect each thought with the breath and be mindful about our thoughts, can you imagine how evolved our society would be? It would be incredible. Thank you so much, Kevin, for doing that. What wisdom could you share about how virtues have helped you in your personal and professional life? What particular virtue has stood out the most for you?
Wow, that's a great question. It really makes me think. There's so many. I think presence and honesty, if I could choose two, I think those are my two at the moment. I always, since I drew on the walls as a little kid and my mom scolded me and said, hey, if you just tell me the truth, you know, it's okay. But like, if you lie to me, it's bad. And since that moment, I've just been, honesty is a big thing for me. Also, you know, seeing how lying can play out for people, it's just, why do that? So honesty really helps me just in life and in relationships. I feel like if you don't tell people what you're thinking, what you're feeling assertively and honestly, then it can build into resentment and things like that. And that's really helped me in relationships, but also in business very, very much. And presence, that was something that I found later in life, especially through Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. That one really like smacked me into presence really quickly. And since I read that book, that would in 2006 or whatever it was, I've just been sort of deepening as much as I can into presence and being here as much as I can, being here and now. And when I'm not present and my mind is somewhere else, I miss things. I miss opportunities. I miss beautiful love. I miss life. I miss things in relationships. I miss things in business. The more present I am, the more happy I am in life, the more joyful, the more love that I feel, and the more successful I end up being in business as well.
Congratulations. Mine too is honesty. I believe a lot in transparency and being as natural and normal as I can possibly be, taking into consideration my role in the world and my position on the planet. So honesty has been very, very big for me. Well, you know, America and the world, it's been going through quite an interesting process. There's been a lot of hate that's been stirring up in the hearts of people. Just recently, there have been a lot of Asian hate crimes, which for the life of me, I have no idea who would hurt a Asian. I mean, much less a Black American. It just breaks my heart to hear what's going on in the minds of my fellow brothers and sisters who somehow still feel that the color of their skin is the authority, not the character of their personality. How would you speak to that with what you're witnessing as a Jewish Caucasian in the United States of America, into meditation, into spirituality, looking at your country, looking at how it's unfolding? How do you feel as a Caucasian Jewish American when you hear the news about Caucasians hurting blacks, Caucasian hurting Asians? What comes up in your heart?
Thank you for asking. That's a good question, and I think a lot of Caucasian people nowadays that are in the spiritual community have it's sort of the reverse of racism, which is it's almost like the flip side, which is like feeling guilty for being Caucasian in some way, and it's a thing. I've seen it. It sounds crazy, but I've seen it, where and they go to sort of these extremes. But I have to mention I had this experience in college after being always around Jewish people for my whole life, and then going to college, and some of my friends were Jamaican, and I ended up in college. I was experimenting with a lot of things. I was on mushrooms with someone else, and I think it was like a Jamaican friend of mine, and I noticed in that moment that that I was seeing him in a way that I had never seen him before. I was seeing him just as a friend. And I was surprised by that. I was like, what do you mean? He's my friend. But I went into that thought process and I realized there was always this sort of separation because of our skin colors, because I had always grown up with only white people. And there was this sort of otherness to him. And in that moment, I sort of realized, like, wow, like, I think that this is, first of all, part of human nature, that we have this sort of otherness. It sort of comes from that ancient tribalism where we grew up in tribes, and if someone looked different, they might be dangerous. You know what I mean? And I think that that moment really changed my perspective on race in general. And I studied race and ethnicity in anthropology, and I found out that race is actually just a construct that we believe in. But while we may have different color skin, we're all genetically pretty much the same. So interest is it to me when people talk about, these very sad things that are happening, hate crimes against people of different races. I think it's very sad, obviously, and it's terrible, and I hope that it stops happening. But I don't think that
Me too.
the way that it's going to stop is by like shaming people, like shaming white people in particular. I don't think that's the way to stop it. I think the way to make it stop is to give people a realization and an understanding that we are all humans and we are all one. And not just that, but that we are all this consciousness that is just, looking out of different eyes and different ears in different bodies, and that's who we are. Like, we are this consciousness, this one consciousness that is the same in everyone, because consciousness is just pure receptive experience. So what
Yes,
eyes and ears people are looking out of,
right.
we're all this one consciousness. It's all me, it's all you.
I was having this funny moment as you were talking that, everyone is being administered the vaccine. Wouldn't it be interesting if everyone took mushrooms, that they would start to see each other as just friends, right? It would be a completely different world. Kevin, we are running out of time, and I have loved every moment of our exchange together, and I surely hope that you have too. But could you do me a favor and leave us with a website that individuals can find out a little bit more about the magazine and some of the work that you're doing?
Yes, of course. If you want to check out Meditation Magazine, we just released the Guru issue. It's hitting shelves, but if you subscribe now, you'll also get the Guru issue. It's Meditation Mag, as in magazine.com. So meditationmag.com. And if you want to subscribe, you go to meditationmag.com/subscribe. And I have some meditation courses that you can check out as well at kevinellerton.com.
Well, look, congratulations on becoming a dad. I'm sure you're going to be an extremely beautiful one. Please give your wife a big hug for me and lots of spiritual vibrations. And thank you for joining us on air today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I have very much enjoyed this conversation. It's been really a pleasure to meet you, to talk to you, and I'm excited to see where all of this goes.
All right, so everyone, that was Kevin Ellerton. Please do visit him at meditationmag.com for more information. And if there's something that you missed that really inspired you, that really took you to another level based on our conversation, just repeat the show, rewind, go back, scroll it back, forth, up, down. But also send me a comment or a message about what you took from the show. I greatly appreciate it immensely. And don't forget to subscribe and just let us know if you like us. Thanks again for joining us on The Next Normal and America Meditating Radio. Wishing you all the best. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission. And I suspect that we're actually here on Earth at this particular period to practice loving each other the same. Take care, everyone, and Om Shanti.